The Minion method is a go-to technique for low and slow barbecue, but what if we could adapt it for hot and fast grilling? Today, we're testing it out with 4 slabs of baby back ribs on the Weber 22-inch kettle grill. By combining briquettes and lump charcoal, we're aiming for steady high heat without adding more coals. Let's see how it works. Together, we're going to tackle this cook step by step from setup to the final bite. Along the way, we'll explore this twist on a classic method and share a few tips to help you get the most out of your own cooks. And if you're ready to master grilling techniques like this, be sure to check out my digital guide, Temperature Zones Made Easy. It's packed with tips and techniques to take your grilling game to the next level. Let's start with the setup. We're using the Minion method, a technique that's usually associated with low and slow barbecue. But today, we're adapting it for a hot and fast cook. The key is how we manage our fuel. In the charcoal basket, we've loaded unlit Kingsford Original briquettes. They burn consistently and provide the steady heat we need for this cook. But here's the twist. Instead of using briquettes for the lit coals, we'll be using Fogo lump charcoal. Lump charcoal lights faster and burns hotter than briquettes, helping us hit the 350 to 425 degree Fahrenheit range right out of the gate. I'll be honest with you, when I first thought about using the Minion method for hot and fast grilling, I wasn't sure it would work as well as it does for low and slow, but the combination of briquettes for stability and lump charcoal for heat intensity proved to be a perfect match. Under the ribs, we placed a half pan of water to keep the environment moist and catch any drippings. We'll also be using a rib rack today to give us some needed space and ensures even airflow for consistent cooking. Now, it's time to get these ribs on the grill. Before we get to grilling, let's go ahead and get our ribs prepped. After rinsing them and patting them dry, let's remove the membrane from the back of each slab. This helps the seasoning penetrate and makes the ribs more tender when they're done. For seasoning, we're using our Feather and Swine blend. It's our go-to for creating a bold, flavorful bark that pairs perfectly with ribs. If you'd like to try it, we've provided a link to a recipe in the description below. Generously coating the ribs is key to building layers of flavor during the cook. With the ribs seasoned and ready to go, let's get them loaded into our rib rack. At this point, everything is ready to come together. Our prep is done and the heat and smoke are ready to do their thing. We've put our wireless probes from our thermometer into 2 slabs of our ribs so that we can keep an eye on temperature. Using the Typhorcine Gold Dual Thermometer, we can monitor both grill temperature and the internal temperature of 2 of our slabs. We'll be aiming for a grill temperature between 350 to 425 degrees Fahrenheit to make sure we keep things moving along. Every 30 minutes, we'll spritz the ribs with a mix of apple cider vinegar and water. This not only keeps the bark moist, but also helps cool the surface slightly, preventing the meat from drying out. Checking the water tray regularly is just as important. It's a small step that makes a big difference in the final result, especially when you're grilling at high temperatures like we're doing today. After about 2 hours on the grill, our ribs are hitting an internal temperature of about 180 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's time to pull the ribs off the grill and wrap them in foil. Wrapping this early is a little bit different than what I usually do, but I'm excited to see how it affects the tenderness. Let's get each slab of ribs tightly wrapped in foil to lock in moisture and tenderness. While we usually wrap at 190 degrees Fahrenheit, this earlier wrap gives us a chance to experiment with keeping even more moisture locked in. To finish cooking the ribs, let's transfer them to a 375 degree preheated oven for 30 minutes. The consistent heat of the oven ensures they cook evenly and continue to tenderize. Since the ribs have spent 2 hours on the grill absorbing all that smoky flavor goodness, I'm totally okay with finishing them in the oven. After 30 minutes in the oven, let's check the internal temperature of our ribs. Our target internal temperature is 205 degrees Fahrenheit. After a lot of trial and error, I've determined that this internal temperature provides me with my ideal level of tenderness for this hot and fast method of preparing ribs. For me, 205 degrees Fahrenheit is going to give us a good and tender rib that isn't too mushy and soft. After letting the ribs sit for about 10 to 15 minutes to let the juices redistribute, it's time to unwrap these ribs. Man, as we unwrap them, the smell of hickory smoke and our Feather Swine seasoning fills the air. The bark is dark and flavorful, and the meat pulled back from the bone is just right. The texture and taste is everything I hoped for. Tender, juicy, and full of flavor. We're definitely gonna have to try this technique again in the future. Next time we can experiment with some different types of hardwoods along with some different brands of charcoal. It's one of those moments where experimenting definitely pays off. Every time I finish a cook like this, it reminds me why I love grilling so much. There's something about combining smoke, fire, and a little patience that makes it all worth it. If you've ever wondered how to adapt the Minion method for hot and fast grilling, this is the way to do it. And if you're ready to take your grilling skills even further, don't forget to check out my digital guide, Temperature Zones Made Easy. It's a quick and practical resource to help you master 2-zone cooking and much more. I want to say a big thank you to our channel members. Your support means a lot. If you'd like to join and enjoy some great perks, there's a link in the description below. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope this video helped you out. If it did, hit that subscribe button and click that bell so anytime we drop a new video, you'll be the first to know. Hit that like button and leave me some comments. I'd love to hear from you. If you're interested in any of the products we used in today's video, we'll leave some links down below. Hope you have an awesome day, and thanks for watching.